One of my friends set an alarm to get up in the middle of the night to buy SpaceX the moment it went public. Here we are a few weeks later, and he's already losing money. And that's not because SpaceX had not suddenly become a bad company, but fear made the decision for my friend, the fear of missing out. And I understand why. When you're working hard to build a better life for yourself or your family, the next obvious stock can feel like a shortcut to wealth that you can't afford to miss. But the problem is the most dangerous stocks typically don't look dangerous. They look certain. They look obvious. I've been investing for over a decade, and for the last year and a half, I've been tracking my portfolio publicly on YouTube while beating the market. And I don't say this to tell you that I never make mistakes. I'm saying this because I've been in the game a long time. I know how easy it is to get roped into an exciting story and then watch thousands of dollars evaporate when the hype subsides. Right now, everybody is hunting for the next Nvidia, the next AI giant, or the next meme stock. Nobody wants to wake up and realize that everybody else got rich while they were sleeping. And that doesn't make you greedy. It makes you human, but it also makes you reckless. Hearing a whisper that, oh, what if this is the one? What if this is the next company that pops off? And everyone is thinking that with SpaceX. That's because the share price already reflects everything going perfectly into the future. And that is what makes obvious stocks look so dangerous. Because a stock is not just a company, it is a company and a share price. You have to consider both. And I know that sounds simple, but that is the thing that investors stop thinking about when a stock looks too exciting. A great company can be too expensive. A popular company can already be priced for perfection, and a winning trend can always disappoint investors. You can be completely right about the future and you can still lose money, because what matters is what does the price say about the expectations, and then how do those expectations compare to reality? A lot of times this is confused with market timing. I'm not trying to predict what the market is going to do next week, next month, or even next year. I'm just trying to calculate how much cash flow am I paying for right now, and then I want to compare that to the projected cash flow for the future of this company. It takes time, it takes work. To a lot of people, that might be too difficult, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with investing in well-diversified, cheap index funds and ETFs. In fact, that is the most logical path for most investors. If you want to pick stocks, you have to be willing to do the work. You probably should enjoy doing it because it does take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you may not want to pick stocks with a huge percentage of your portfolio. In whatever form it takes, you can absolutely pick stocks in a logical way. You just need to have a process for making sure that you're not buying into the hype instead of buying a reasonably priced company. And there's plenty of examples of this happening in the past. If you think about the Nifty 50, in the early 1970s, everyone wanted to own the same 50 stocks. In fact, they have a name for a specific group of 50 stocks. Companies like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Disney, a lot of these companies went on to do very well. But if you invested into this basket of 50 companies, you actually did very poor over the next decade, because all of these companies were so obvious, everybody wanted to buy them. And before you knew it, the price and the expectations required for that company to make money became unreasonable. The next big example of this is the dot-com bubble. In March of 2000, the NASDAQ dropped by 77% because internet companies crashed in value. Now, investors at the time were 100% correct about internet companies. Internet companies were the future. They were 100% right, but the price of those companies was inflated to extreme valuations, and thus the future required to justify those prices just did not materialize, and people lost tons and tons of money. Finally, let's look at an individual stock example that's a little bit more recent. Let's look at PayPal. If I go to PayPal's stock chart, we can see that in the middle of 2021, they were at $300 per share, and today they're sitting at $46 per share. Now that is shocking, especially when you look at their financials. If I look at their earnings per share in 2021, they had $3.52 of earnings per share. So if I owned a share then, I've lost so much money. Even though today, each share gives me $5.33 of earnings. Each share is making me way more money, but the stock price is 85% down from where it was 5 years ago. That's insane. In 2021, PayPal was so obvious because online shopping was going crazy. Nobody carried cash anymore. Venmo, which is owned by PayPal, was on everybody's phone. Digital payments looked unstoppable. And on top of that, PayPal wasn't a company that was unprofitable. It was making real money at the time, and it had really strong growth as well. And that is what made this trap so sneaky. If I use the Wayback Machine to see the Yahoo Finance page from May 12th, 2021, I can see that the analyst projections for the next 5 years was 24.23% revenue growth every single year. That's what people thought PayPal was going to do at the time. Over the previous 5 years, they had 23.44% growth, so why wouldn't they continue? The problem is this assumption did not account for competition rising up and taking out some of PayPal's market share. So now if I go back to PayPal's financials and look at their revenue growth, I can see in 2022, they grew by 20.7%. In 2021, they grew by 18%. And then in 2022, they only grew by 8%. And it's been trending down slightly ever since then. So in this case, in 2021, there was insane growth priced into PayPal. And then when that future didn't happen, the future that you paid for when you bought shares of PayPal at $300 per share, when that future didn't happen, the share price went way down, even though this company has grown every year since then. Their earnings have increased every single year. You still lost money. And that's the lesson that a lot of us end up learning the painful way. Just because a company is a great company, it does not mean it's a great investment. It sounds backwards, but once you really understand that, you start asking the right question, which is, what is this business actually worth? That's why in the next video, I'm going to look at SpaceX through my 5-part framework to determine, is this a great company and a great investment, or is it going to be the next big trap for investors? Hope to see you there.